Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the One Pass Podcast, episode 4, and we're back with Conor.
Hi, everyone.
And oh boy, we got some interesting stuff. We got the Dark States Overtrigger finally revealed, and you got the anime. So finally, episode 1 of the anime. So yeah, that and much more right after this. And we're back, and we're going to start the first topic off with episode 1 of the anime.
Good watch.
Good watch. Very good watch. Man. The first thing that came to my mind after watching that is that fight scene, the animation.
Yeah, looks good. It looks very good.
I know that when they said that they were going to talk about like making this a standalone anime, and it's not going to be people that don't care about Vanguard can sit there and watch it and enjoy it. Like, I didn't know how well it was going to transition, and I can see why. The direction they're going with it and the styling, I can see what they're talking about now. And it's definitely not the other episodes of Vanguard's anime. This is like a legit anime. Like, it has like serious topics. It has blood. It has, violence. Violence, Bruce.
It takes itself seriously.
Very. Especially the very, very beginning, because you obviously see like Yu already cross-dressing, getting with the sisters and stuff like that. So it's very interesting.
Irate topic.
But yeah, so how do you feel about the characters and how do you feel about the anime?
It's a very strong first episode, and like I said, it's taking itself seriously, which is not something that Vanguard's previously done very much of.
I mean, this is the first time I've seen blood, I think.
I think so. I can't recall another time that you've seen relatively physical pushing and shoving, but nothing more serious than that.
I mean, you've seen like scuff marks and somebody getting punched, but you never actually seen blood.
Yeah, so it definitely feels more mature, for lack of a better word.
Definitely. And I think that's because of the studio.
Yeah.
The studio is definitely known like a legit anime studio, so they're gonna like take it seriously fully.
Well, and it feels good. It doesn't feel like it's pushing a product, which is great. It does feel like it's taking itself seriously, which is better to watch, more fun to watch. I can't wait for the next episode already.
I definitely like how the characters definitely have more relatable like personalities than your generic copy and paste card anime characters. Oh no, it's the antagonist. Oh no, it's this guy. Basically, anti-villainish, I guess you could say, kind of character like Kai used to be. That looks up to, and it kind of like they kind of kept that thing throughout the themes of like G and most of. I mean, I guess that G's the only relatable one. It's the only two we've really had.
It does feel. They don't feel like one-dimensional characters anymore. They're not. There's something you can kind of project on or relate to with all the characters, at least so far.
So, let's talk about the fight scene.
Okay, so I didn't get to watch it when it started. I had to watch late at night when it was streaming on YouTube. I wasn't expecting a fight scene. I'm not gonna lie.
The biggest thing that got me, and I'm so happy about this. This is the first time we get an episode 1 of Vanguard, out of the entire series of it, that we have not got a how to play Vanguard of the very first episode.
You are right. Yeah.
They didn't teach you how to play Vanguard. They just went straight into a fight. They expected you to know.
Should you had to throw hands.
Which I like, because technically they didn't. You don't need to know how, because I think that's how they're going to treat the anime, sadly. They're going to tell you, these cards have effects, like they're going to do things. But we're not going to sit there and read out the effects and tell you what they do. We're just going to play out the cards, and I think how the actual fight scene, the units fighting, showing that, I think that's going to be a bigger part of how the anime is going to be. Because if they want it to be standalone, like people that don't want to play Vanguard, they just want to watch the anime, right?
Yeah.
They're not going to sit there and want to listen to people read off effects about how you're attacking and everything, right? They're going to want to see like animations of like units fighting and stuff like that. They just want to see like the actual like series and the plot.
Yeah.
So I think how this episode is structured is probably going to be how the most of the anime is. You're probably not going to see a lot of actual physical card fights. You're probably going to see like maybe 3 minutes like this or so. And even then, you're probably not going to actually see the card games. You might see a little bit of it, but it's probably going to be more of the actual units animated more than the actual like card game itself being shown.
Well, I prefer that too. I can think of almost every card fight that took place in G where it was a couple of scenes where Chronojet was cut in, and that was it. Nothing really happened.
Yeah, it was mostly card fight, and there was a little bit of plot.
Yeah, well, it'll be nice if they occasionally remind you it is a card fight. Like, here's a scene of a card, but here's the actual fighting action happening. It'll be more engaging.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of the, like I said, it's probably only going to be max. These are like what, 20-minute, 25-minute episodes?
Somewhere between there, yeah.
So you're probably only going to get maybe a max 6 or 7 minutes of fighting. Maybe less, probably less than that. You're probably going to get 5 because I think it was only like 3 minutes of actual like fighting in the thing. So I personally like it because like as much as I would love to see this, like cool, they can probably do like a tournament arc or something like that to really show more card fighting if they want to. I like the fact that you get to see the units. Like, it makes people more attached if they're watching the anime. Like, cool, they can come into the game and be like, hey, I really like that unit in the anime. I really like how the player used it, and like, you know, the attachment, kind of like, you know, how Overlord and Blaster Blade were with Kai and Aiji. And it gives it attachment, and now they can come into the game and be like, hey, I want to pick this up just because I like the character and like the unit on the show.
Attachment's a very good word because it's like you compared it to Kai and IG, and that's kind of a feeling I feel like someone wants with their favorite deck. They love this card. This card is what it revolves around. They want to focus on it. They're going to, if for no other reason than because it's really cool and they really like it.
Yeah, and now that they're focusing more like plot-wise instead of, you know, on the card fights, now you're going to have characters that are more relatable and more something you can be more attached to. Like you like you like this person's personality, you like this person's values, and you know how this character is. So you're more tempted to lean toward that deck because you like this character, versus, you know, oh, I like the way this plays, and I saw it on the anime. Main character used it, I'm going to use it.
I mean, yeah, that's how it works.
But hey, speaking of main characters, so Danji, I think his name is.
I'm bad with names.
The Dark States guy. You got to see his fight. You know what else we got to saw? Or see? The Dark States Overtrigger.
Oh boy.
So, first episode, we kind of speculated on what the Overtriggers would do. Me and Lon kind of said that we thought it would be this card's going to deal a damage, or it's going to null their Vanguard to 0. Boy, were we wrong. This is an effect. So the Dark States Overtrigger says, whenever you drive check this, for the rest of the game, your Vanguard gets power plus 10,000 on your turn and critical plus 1. It's a force 1 and 2 on your Vanguard immediately for the rest of the game.
And it's a monster. They see that, it's hard to stop.
So initially when you look at this, you're like, okay, cool, it's going to get the power. Then you have to think about it, like, right? This is an Overtrigger. They like want to pass your Vanguard, right? You can be the smart player and just say, I'm going to give the 100 million to the rear guard. The Vanguard's still going to get plus 10 in a crit. They're still going to pass when the pass.
It makes it much more reasonable to nullify Vanguard attacks.
Oh, especially if you see a Dark States deck.
Oh yeah, you're saving it specifically for the Vanguard.
But man, if you rip this on grade 1 ride,
that's a hard comeback.
like, so not only is your opponent more like, because think of it this way, you're going through the early game, right? Grade 1 swing, you're more than likely taking the first damage. You're not going to guard it. I mean, you probably will, you probably could, but you're more than likely just going to take it because it's not worth wasting hand at this point in the game. They rip the Overtrigger. You're already taking 2 damage. Right there.
2 damage from every attack they're on from the Vanguard.
Next turn, right? They ride up to grade 2. They swing, right? It already has an extra 10 in a crit and a drive check. Could rip another crit. You could already be at 5 damage if you let it go through.
Before you even hit grade 3.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
And then it gets even worse after that. And then this is not including your opponent's rushing you too. If you just decided, oh cool, well I got the Overtrigger, well cool, I'm just gonna pull my hand down. At this point, you got to guard everything.
I'm just imagining playing against it because the rear guards already get really big. Vanguard's it's a problem in and of itself, but now it gets the extra crit and the power. It seems hard to stop.
So here's my question. When you're thinking about this effect, are you thinking about this with Bruce?
Yeah.
Okay. Now remember, this is for all of Dark States. The DI build can also use this, which means that if you use a skill, it'll have +3 critical every time you use a skill after you activate it.
I hadn't considered that. That's terrifying.
And then you also have the Battle Dory effect, which means if you use that one grade 1 and boosted it, and you have the 5 cards in Soul, your opponent has to use 2 or more cards to guard.
Okay, yeah, that's a lot of pressure. That's pressure no matter how you play it.
And then it gets even better when you think of Bruce, because they revealed the grade 2 triple rare, right? Grade 2 triple rare skill says is when it's restood and you're in final rush, it gets an extra crit. So on your Bruce turn when you swing and you restand 2 of these on rear guard, you have double critical across your front row.
Yeah, that's it's a lot. I'm trying to picture guarding against that.
So I just looked at this line up. Granted, this is more than likely never going to, this is very rarely going to happen. I think
It's a
it's
1 in
never.
50.
Because, your opponent, you still have to drive check this to get it to happen. It's not on the defense, it's only on drive check. Just like the Dragon Empire one. But at the same time, it's like, the feel bads.
Yeah.
You get feel bad when you get ripped in an overtrigger. Now you're going to get even more feel bads when you happen to also play like this for the rest of the game.
It's not. I do like that it's a 1 in 50 because it's balanced. It's not a focus of the deck, but it helps the focus of the deck.
What's even better, though, think about it, is what happens when we get more builds. When we get a Pale Moon build, when we get the Gear Chronicle build.
Ooh, okay. I'm excited for that one. But this is going to be a constant Dark States gimmick, more or less. Very rare, but you will have to deal with it at some point.
And another fun fact about this is, who's to say they get more overtriggers down the road?
Of a different effect.
A different effect, yeah. You're going to keep using this one, or you're going to use the other one?
I mean, to be fair, getting the equivalent of 2 force gifts is enough to encourage me to keep it.
Thinking about that now, that's a good thought about that, actually, now to think about it. Because we got set 2 around the corner,
Yes.
right? They have not confirmed overtriggers in that.
You are correct.
So you know what that means, right?
We could be getting a second effect for overtriggers for some of these decks.
No. We might not get another overtrigger in that set.
You are correct.
Because if you think about that, that makes set 1's value really high.
You need those overtriggers.
Because every box gets an overtrigger, right? And every deck is going to want an overtrigger down the future, right? So at that point, the value of these overtriggers is going to go up if they don't print them for another one for a while.
Yeah, that's true.
Because the only time to get them is from set 1, and once it stops printing out, let's look at the draw PGs for a while back in the V series and how hard they were. They were like $20 and $30 draw PGs.
Yep, they didn't drop for a long time.
And this is not ones that every deck needs.
Yeah, no, every deck will pretty much need these overtriggers.
And they're only 4 per case, 4 of each one in a case.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Granted, you're never going to use 4.
No.
You're only going to use like 1 or 2 at most. So but it still makes you think about it in the sense of secondary market and stuff like that, and how the price of those things.
Yeah, no, it'll be crazy. It's gonna make these early pulls really high demand.
Mm-hmm. Hey, because you only have to buy 1, right?
I hope that's good for the price and not bad.
I don't know. We'll see. Especially think about that now. I'm curious how the market's going to look at that. Because we're getting foils of everything in the set, right?
Yeah, with the festival.
Yeah, I'm curious.
No, I was thinking wrong.
Everything in the booster
just come foil.
can come foil.
Ooh, yeah.
So that makes everything that's common and rare really dirt cheap. Because people are going to want to go for the higher rare version.
Good for budget building.
But here's my question: what's the pull rates on these things?
I don't think I've seen anything on the pull rates. It'll be interesting to see.
I mean, the set's not out yet, but
I mean, yeah.
Is it going to be 1 in every pack, foil, or is it going to be you have a chance to get a foil, and what's the chances of it?
So you could get 1, maybe 2 if you're really lucky out of a pack that's a foil.
Yeah. No, you might get 1.
Maybe.
1 in every 2 or 3. Just think of how expensive those would be.
Yeah.
Oh my god, just imagine somebody trying to bling their deck out. How expensive that would be if it's like 1 in every 3 packs.
Yeah, no, that would be
Because you
for
got-
the
Because think of it this way.
rich kids.
Look at Zorga as an example, right? Or actually, not Zorga. Let's look at the what's his name, the Seraph Snow,
Yeah.
right? You got your trial deck cards. Obviously, you're not going to get those foiled out unless you go into the booster set, and even then, you're not getting everything in the the start text booster foiled.
Yeah.
You're only getting the rad line and the triggers. So let's look at how many cards just in the build that Philip has right now. You have 1, 2, 3. That's not it's supposed to be in there. 4. That's not. Well,
Mixed.
just for those that are not listening, there's apparently some Keter Sanctuary cards in here. Obviously, he imprisoned them permanently into this deck.
You don't get them back. We're playing for anti-rules.
Never.
Whoops.
Yep.
My bad.
But here's a good example. So right now he only has like a handful of cards in this deck that are not from the booster. It's like 4 cards.
Yeah.
One's already a double rare, right? So you got a rare, a common, and an order that's a common. Now you could foil these out. So say you're running 4 copies of these. There's 12 foils, right?
Yeah.
What happens if it's 1 in every 3 packs? That means you have to buy 36 packs to get a chance
Yeah.
of those 3 of getting a play set of foils of those. That's not even considering every other card in the set.
Yeah, that's going to be increasingly rare.
Now, if it's every card in the set, it makes it better. But still, you got to understand that it's every card in the set.
Mm-hmm.
Like how many packs do you have to go through to get like your play sets? And then think about that on the secondary market.
Yeah.
It might be like $20 a foil. Because if you look at a case is like what, like 700 or something like that? Oh, 750, 800.
Something like that, yeah.
And you're getting like 20 boxes. It's like 16 packs in a box. Jesus Christ, where's my phone? I gotta do some math. I'm legitimately curious about this now. Like that is a big deal.
All right, I've got my calculator. What's our math?
20 times 16.
320.
320.
And we're assuming 1 in 3.
Does it say 1 in every pack, right?
That's still 320 foil cards.
And then let me look at the booster set. And I want to see how many cards are in the set. Go down. Genesis of the 5 grades. Loading. So there's a total of 120 cards in this set. Let's say some magical reason you pull 1 of every card foil.
That's a 2.6 repeating. So you have a 2.5. Yeah. You're not looking at getting every card foiled out in a box either.
No, that's not a
playset.
box. That's a case.
That's a case. Okay, so yeah, you're spending money in order to get your foiled out deck.
Yeah, so you're probably at least looking at 4 cases just to get a playset.
Yeah.
Holy cow! Yeah, that's gonna be they're gonna be pricey,
Yeah, they're not going to be cheap by any means.
and especially depending on the deck, because one's more favorable or they're stables.
Yeah. Oof.
Granted,
Stable cards would be
this is
super-
also not including the. These are just for rares and Oh, actually, go back to your calculator.
That's a good point. We are not looking at this properly.
Yes. 65 plus 30.
95.
95. So 95 cards could be
3.37. I'm rounding up.
3.37.
That actually does dramatically increase your chances,
Yes, but that
but
means
it's still not reliable.
so that's almost getting a playset, a case. So it still means after you get a case, you still have it's if you get a foil in every pack,
yeah.
a common or rare foiled.
And then that's requiring you get 4 of the same card.
Yes, that means you still might have to actually still go buy or trade more off of people.
Yeah, that's crazy. That'll be where the money comes in for these packs for sure.
So, moving on to our last topic. Let's see where we're at right now. Okay. So, sideboarding. Sideboarding has been in other card games. We have Magic the Gathering. I think it's been in Pokemon. I can't remember if it's Pokemon.
I believe it was. I know it's in Yu-Gi-Oh.
It's in Yu-Gi-Oh. But most TCGs have sideboards. Vanguard is one of the few games that does not have a sideboard.
I actually have always found that a little weird. I just got used to it over time.
So back when we had the clan system, is understandable because your decks are pretty much only going to be built one way.
Yeah.
There's very little wiggle room to like change things, so it's probably just going to be built this way. But now that we have deck builds and interchangeability of units in these nations now, I feel like it's a good time to get a sideboard in this game.
I agree.
Because look at this. This is a good, easy example of why it should be in there. The new Blitz order that counterblast 2 to -1 crit to your Vanguard. Most decks probably ain't gonna run it, but might like it depending on the matchup, right?
Yeah.
You're going against a deck that has a restanding Vanguard. It would be nice to say in between rounds, if we ever get best of 3, to just say I'm gonna sideboard this order in. That way, if in case the guy goes ham, I can just use the order and protect myself
From 2 attacks.
against this one matchup. And I don't need this against the other matchups. It's only against this one matchup. Like, that's the reason sideboards are in other games. So you go against this one rogue matchup. You're like, oh man, I know this is coming. I really don't want to put this use deck space up just for this matchup and waste my deck space. That's the whole reason sideboards are in other TCGs anyways, in competitive formats. I feel like it needs it now.
Depending on the size of said sideboard, it could also completely change your deck. You could change the core but keep the staples so that you aren't playing at disadvantage.
Yeah, like what if a Magnolia deck just wants to have a sideboard of its ride line and switch out ride lines in the sideboard? You're like, oh, okay. Since I know I'm going against this, I'm going to take these out. I'm going to use the Zorga ride line grade 1 and 2. So way I have some more cards in hand since this is going to be a very rushy deck since I'm going against, say, like Dragon Empire, and they're just going to throw down the grade 1s and rush me. I'd rather have a hand early in. That way I can just fill my drop zone and use the orders to get my drop zone back. And then once I get the grade 3, I can start pushing the push game like normal.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I'd rather have the other ride line because most decks ain't going to do this. So that way I can just kind of ride up and then have a slower game and not have to worry about like wasting up deck space.
Yeah, this is a good time for a sideboard because all of the decks that I've played, which I think is all of them at this point, they have a different time that they really kick off. So being able to prepare, as an opponent of most of those decks, being able to prepare appropriately for each one would have helped me a lot, seeing as I've played mostly Dragon Empire.
And that's another thing I never understood. Like I understand from a tournament standpoint back in the day, like best of 1 makes tournaments go faster. But at the same time, best of 1s like feel bad, especially in a tournament. You go into regionals and you just get like unlucky and somebody just crit sacks you and you just lose right there. It's like, oh, I lost this round. Guess it's an uphill battle in scrub bracket up until it gets tough. I'm never gonna get first place now unless I can get in the top 8 and then hopefully get through it that way. But it's like
I feel like best of 3 would be more fun, especially since so much of Vanguard is luck reliant. I mean, there's been a lot of deck stacking, legal deck stacking, because of the way decks function. But as it is right now, there's a lot of luck, especially riding on the overtrigger. So best of 3 could be a lot of fun, and with the overtrigger could actually be just as fast.
when you're going into like competitive seats like regionals, you're going there to be competitive. You're not going in there to get like, oh, I didn't get lucky, another lottery ticket, scratch it off.
Exactly.
You're there to try to win, right? And the best of 3 gives you better chances of winning because, you can get unlucky in card games.
Especially one where the top of your deck can save or kill you.
I was like, oh, look at this 5 cards and 5 triggers in my hand. I'm going to put 5 back and draw 5. Oh, I drew 5 more triggers. Oh, good game, man. No, I got unlucky.
Yeah.
But I really do think that there should be a sideboard. I think this is the best time to put a sideboard in.
Most definitely.
So, one more topic. Bonus round. You know where we're going.
these.
You know where we're going with this, right?
I keep getting these bonus rounds. I'm with it.
I feel a little bit energetic about this. Okay. But yeah, I feel a little bit energetic with these. So let's talk about, speaking of, regionals and, fighting and everything, let's talk about regionals and the remote fights they're doing.
Yeah, I was surprised to hear about this.
So because of the thing which shall not be named floating around the world right now, they've had to cancel pretty much all of their Winter's Fest, Spring Fest during V Series.
Yeah.
It sucks. It really sucks. Philip said it perfectly. Vanguard or Vanquisher, the lost meta, and the last of the series. It literally was the last regional event in Japan, and then after that, they just fell off. But they know that people want to play Overdress. They got a whole new game. They don't want to just sit there and let people play the game and not be able to play competitively in tournaments and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So obviously they're going to make a compromise, and their compromise is to do remote fights. So, how do you know how remote fights work, right?
Yeah, you were showing me. It's entirely the camera overview of what I'm playing.
Yes.
Not even a picture of the face or anything. It just here's a picture of my board.
You can have a picture of the face depending on the remote fight, but I don't know if that's how they're going to handle it.
Yeah.
They're probably going to say if it's a remote fight, just okay, this is the overhead picture.
Show your board.
Because most people can't do that. They're not going to force people to do that.
Yeah.
So they're probably just going to say, okay, put your phone up, put it on a tripod, put a mat in front of it. Hope you don't. So I got my quirk about this, but I'm going to bounce back off before I start ranting. And then they're going to apparently do all the regional formats. So here's the big picture here about this, right? This is not regionals. It's regional. This means anybody in the United States from Anaheim to Atlanta to Jacksonville, where we'd have normal regionals.
Yeah.
It's all one. Ooh. So the entry pool for this is going to be big.
Colossal even.
So they're limiting participants from the sounds. From what I read, they said they're doing it at specific sanctioned shops, I think. And then those shops are going to have only 256 participants max. I don't know how you can control that.
Neither do I. And even because it still cuts out a lot of people.
Because people can pre-register 7 days in advance from what it said on their site. What happens when people just start floodgating the shop? And it said apparently it's first come, first serve. So, weird.
That's counterintuitive. For starters.
I feel bad because this is kind of like you get the shop's favorite people, right? And you hear, let's say the shop we're at now, they decide they're going to be one of these shops, right? That means anybody in all of North Carolina or any of the neighboring states. I mean, granted, it could be other shops in other states. Well, let's just say just this shop for instance, right? I'm sure there's more than 256 players of Vanguard in one state.
Yeah, you're gonna have 300 people the day that you can start signing up. Try to come to the shop to do it.
Exactly, they're already gonna have their deck list ready before they can come into the shop. Now, is the shop gonna do this online, right? Are they gonna pre-register online, or are they gonna have to come to the shop? So that means somebody's gonna have to pre-register 7 days in advance, come to the shop, right? If they do that, turn in their deck list, and then leave and come back 7 days later, a week later, for the tournament. And that's weird, right?
Imagine the Wi-Fi needed for that.
Now take into effect that it's first come, first serve. So what happens when the shop's full and has to tell people, no, you can't come in. We've already got enough participants.
They're just going to go to another shop. I mean,
I know, but it's going to start. But it's the day of, right?
Yeah, true.
And they just put in their deck list, right? You can't just, I'm going to go bounce to the shop. The tournament's going to be in hours. And that's not including that shop doesn't already have enough participants.
Yeah.
It's really, really weird. So I'm going to bounce off to you before I rant about remote fights, because I have a real big stickler about this. So tell me what you think about all this.
It's inefficient. I don't know a better word for it.
But it's the only way they can do it, considering the situation around the world.
Yeah, I mean, this is this is a necessary evil.
Okay, it's not the only way. There is another way, and I'll tell you. I'll state that later. But go ahead, continue.
This is the only way we're going to get to play regional. So it's what's needed. Otherwise, we would be going without, and nobody wants to go without, especially when it's essentially a brand new game. Everyone's excited. We've been looking forward to this for months. No one's going to want to miss out and wait, who knows, maybe another year before we get that chance. Yeah, I mean, it's needed. People are definitely going to miss out. There's no way they're going to fit everybody who wants to take part in it.
So, let me get my rant about remote fight.
Yep.
Because I feel like this needs to be said for people to hear, because this is the issue that comes up. Granted, it can be in shops. They're going to be in shops, so it's not going to be as bad, but it can still happen. You're not seeing the player's face. You're not, and you obviously you can't put your hand in front of the camera because your opponent's going to be able to see your hand too. So they're going to know how much they can swing for and how much your opponent can guard for if you lead that. So obviously their hand's going to have to be out of camera, right?
Yeah.
So what's to say they don't have a friend of theirs just sliding the cards into their hand?
Anti-cheat's going to be very hard. I assume that means it would have to be done at a shop with a judge.
Yeah, I mean, like how you judge 256 participants around people remote fighting.
Yeah, that's not feasible, especially not in a place like this where you would have 256 people set out at tables right beside each other.
Yeah, but I mean, like, are you going to have a judge sitting at every other table and watching them and like going, magic trick a card out of my sleeve?
Are there even that many judges?
Yeah,
that's
where it gets really, really tricky, right?
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
Because like in a person-to-person, face-to-face, you can see, hey, I saw you do that.
Yeah.
Hey, judge, he stacked his deck.
You're not going to have that. Not through remote fight.
Also, you can't cut your opponent's deck either.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Hadn't thought about that.
So your opponent could stack if they know how to shuffle.
It'll also be very hard to check sleeves to make sure they're not marked.
Unless you have a judge literally coming over and cutting everybody's deck every time they shuffle.
A lot of hand sanitizer.
But as I'm saying, it's like a whole mess. And there's such an easy way to fix this. There's such a better solution to this. They've had the solution for a while, and they just threw it down the gutter. Card Fight Online.
Yeah.
They could have had an actual program of Card Fight online for people to play, and just said, all right, our regional tournament is going to be hosted online through Card Fight Online. Just put it in your deck list, register, and you're going to be playing people online that way. And, it's the bracket for the regionals. And then, if you make top cut and go to Worlds, cool, you can actually play a person physically.
And this would be the perfect time to do it. Again, it's the same thing as we said with the sideboard. This is the perfect time to start something like that because it's a new game.
But I'm like, they could have easily, they've had Card Fight Online up. They've had it running. We saw the trailers. We saw the demo, the demo things where people got it early and got to test it, right? And play it. It played like regular Vanguard. And they had it easily. And they have all this money and resources. They're going into an actual anime, right? They're paying a studio, right? They're paying advertising for buses. They're giving people, there's a thing out there where you can actually put a poster of Vanguard on your car and they pay you per advertising if you drive it around in Japan.
Oh, that's so cool.
They're paying people to advertise it, right? They're going out of their way for all this, right?
That money could have gone into
They cut the price of their start decks to make it cheaper, more affordable, and more aggressive for people to play, right? They could have easily put some of this budget somewhere out of all this, right? And just said, okay, I feel like we need to do this for this year because this needs to be out so as we can do this easily and more effectively. But instead they go this remote fight route, and I feel like, oh my God, this is like a giant nightmare of a mess.
Yeah, I feel like even if this goes well, it's a one-time thing. There's no way they're going to reliably be able to make sure no one cheats if they do it a second time. There's no way they're going to make sure that everything can be accommodated properly in a shop like this every time. So I agree. Online would have been the best way to do this. Doesn't exist, though, so...
Hey, Bushy Road, if you're somehow listening to this podcast, there's a solution if you have to keep doing this.
A really easy one that everybody would like.
Yeah, because then you also have the online platform for people to actually just play online. Especially when they're locked indoors and they can't, actually play the physical card game, but they really want to play Overdress.
Yeah.
You could gotcha. You can do the gotcha.
Oh, no.
I wouldn't, honestly, I wouldn't even mind it.
No?
I wouldn't mind it if it was legit, like not zero, just like legit. I have rear guard circles. I have cards in hand to guard with, real Vanguard. I would honestly not care if there's a gotcha system. I would play it.
Yeah, and I mean that's, if you want to be honest, pulling from a pack is a real life gotcha system. But
Yes, but at the same time though, it's like cool. Well, now I can play and spend more money to you guys to fund this
to
game,
have this deck twice,
to fund this program you just spent all this money for.
they'd make their money back in no time.
Exactly. And then you still got the people playing zero on their mobile phones, like, funding you that way. Like, it's more money. Do it. It fixes all the problems. Everybody's happy.
I feel like Zero actually shows exactly how popular online would be.
Because a lot of people just want to play Vanguard.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't care how. They just want to play it. Just imagine though, like, real Vanguard online. Like,
I would spend the same amount of money twice just to have the same decks. I'm one of those people that would definitely end up doing it.
I don't even care. I wouldn't care about the shinies, but I just love playing the game.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because then I can just be like, hey, here's my friend code. Let's go play, bro.
Hey guys, I'm bored. Who wants to play Vanguard?
Hey, I need to help test this deck for regionals because I'm going to be signing up. I signed up for regionals next week. Need to play this deck. Let me figure out ratios. Help me play it.
Who's got 8 hours to fine tune this with me?
Exactly. I really hope they do.
It would be nice if they listen to this and say, yeah, this is a good idea.
It's very low, but hey, you never know.
Here's your chance.
Well, yeah. That has been episode 4. Real fun. I'm really excited for next week because I really want to see episode 2 of this anime.
Same. I'm really excited.
It's really hype. And I'm really excited because, Tuesday, they are showing the rest of the overtriggers.
Oh, really? I'll be there.
So we actually get to see what all the other overtriggers are going to do.
Very good.
So it's gonna be fun. And we're definitely probably gonna be talking about that next week too. But that's it for episode 4, guys. If you like this, definitely stay tuned for more of this. I'm sure you can find us on Google Podcast, Spotify, Anchor, and also YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, you can subscribe, like, and share this guy with more of your friends. And yeah, I'll see you guys later.
Bye, everyone.